Wah! What's up, cuz? Long time no see. How's everything going? How's the family? Good, good, I hope. Gonna see you probably Tasha's wedding, which is gonna be awesome. I wanted to say thank you very much for buying this canvas, this beautiful masterpiece right behind me. It's definitely my favorite, biggest painting I've ever finished, and the crowd loves it in Portland too. This bridge is the steel bridge in Portland, the first bridge built in Portland that connected the west side to the east side. I don't think you and I crossed it. We crossed the Burnside Bridge when we went on that drunken night to watch the Broncos and the Niners play the teams last postseason. But I believe you saw it, so definitely something to remind you of Portland. Definitely when you come back, we'll be able to see it, and this is a little piece of Portland to take home with you. But today we're going to figure out how to stretch it. If all goes downhill, you could always wait for me to come by and I can do it. But this little video will hopefully show you how to do it yourself and get it on your wall so that you can enjoy it. Talking about the picture frame itself, I put a varnish on top of it that's UV protective. It's going to protect it from sunlight, from weather damage. Definitely don't punch any holes, shoot any BB guns at it because it's not bulletproof. But if you spill coffee, if you accidentally sneeze on it, if you and your brother have loogie fights like you used to back in the day, you'll be able to take a cloth and rinse it off. So it is kind of water resistant too, so you don't have to be too afraid about liquid spills or whatnot too. It has a slight gloss, which I think is boss, but that's exactly what it is, that varnish that helps protect it. To stretch the canvas, this is it completed. What you're going to need is a staple gun, a pressure rod, one that's hooked up to that thing that blows out hella fast. Anyways, you could use a handheld one, or you could use the tool one that links up to the pressure. That fucking crazy. The type of nails that you would want to use, I use, it's about 3/8 wide, about I think 1/4 of an inch long too. So when it comes to canvas stretching, you don't want a close nail, you want a wide nail and not too deep, just in case it goes through the wood and punches the opposite side. So I'll write it down too to let you know exactly which one to use, but just to show you that's what it is. Also, you're going to need this tool. This is what stretches the canvas. It has these grid face so that it doesn't tear the canvas, and it has an even pull. You don't want to use pliers or anything too small because you'll rip the canvas with all that pressure. So these work perfect. I'll probably send this with you. They're pretty cheap. I bought mine at Michael's with a coupon for about $7. So if I can't fit into the box, I'll let you know where to pick one up too. Really easy, pretty cheap, just a canvas stretching tool. Other than that, you just need some motivation, probably about a half an hour to stretch it, and you can get this bad boy on your wall. Okay, first things first, what we're going to talk about is the frame. I hope that you're going to be okay building the frame by yourself. It's pretty easy. I got everything cut out already, and what I did is I'll include the screws that I screwed it in with. What you'll probably need to do is just get a little bit of a wood glue and glue up the corners just so it's nice and tight too. So it should be pretty easy to build. It's relatively light as a frame. I can lift it up with one hand. That's probably like not even 15 pounds, I don't think. You'll obviously have one side written on, the other side will be the front of it, and I'll show you that in a second. What I did is clockwise, I wrote down 1 and a 1, 2 and a 2, 3 and a 3, 4 and a 4, and so forth. Just when you do build the frame, just match up the numbers and it should fit perfectly and everything lined up. Also, I wrote down the top, bottom, left, and right, because when you receive all the pieces, you'll just want to match them up so that when you face the back, it's all lined up too. Another thing that I wrote the top on it is I drilled in the hooks and the holes for the hooks of the back of the frame, which should line up. I have a pencil mark kind of noting where the middle of it is. So once you have the canvas stretched, you can find them easily, so you don't have to put a bunch of holes into it. Let's look at the canvas. Okay, after you build the frame, First thing you want to do is lay it face up. So you're going to have that 1/4 inch round that's popping up, what looks like the only rounded area on the top of the frame. You want that facing up, and that's going to be the front of the canvas. And that 1 inch or 1/4 inch round, what it does is it doesn't allow the canvas to sit on anything on the frame after being stretched. Because after you stretch it, heat, cold, allows the canvas to either shrink or tighten up. And if it shrinks because it gets too hot, what they'll do is usually you'll see the wood. So to balance that and offset that stretch and non-stretch, I have the 1/4 inch round, which would look pretty good. But what you're going to want to do is the canvas should come up, rolled up in the package like this. And I usually just put it right on top with one end facing it. Kind of got to make sure you're on the top or the bottom. But once you kind of know the bottom is showing false, this is the bottom of the frame, you just unroll it right on top. Okay, so once you rolled it out, so you're going to want to find those lines that were previously stretched and just match up the corners of them like I did. Should be relatively easy. Don't worry about if it's not perfect, just because it has been stretched and it's kind of folded in the middle. You're not going to line it up perfect. But after that, you're going to want to grab the canvas structurals and the nail gun. And what I like to do is make sure that these corners are lined up. Make sure that the line from the previous stretch is right where it should be. And you're going to want to lift up the frame, hold it in place. And after that, kind of pinch it taut from the top and the bottom for where you just lifted up. And again, do a quick check that none of this is folded or wrinkled. You want it to be nice and flat as possible. Lift it straight up and just give it one staple. Boom. Okay. After that staple, you're going to go directly underneath it. And I like to do the longest sides first, just so when you come to these sides, they don't move around. So just like on that one, give yourself some room. Directly, or about exactly on the opposite side of where you put that full staple, you want to put your second one. So I lift it up a little bit, kind of double check that the corners are lined up still. This side too. And this is such a big frame that you could have somebody help you, or you could do like I'm doing and just lay it on the ground and lift it up. So everything's lined up. This is about the middle from where I last put it. So what I do is I lift it up all the way if you want. Keep it close. And make sure you're holding it tight so it doesn't move around. You're going to grab the canvas stretchers and grab the canvas and just pull down. You want to use that leverage. It has this little bit on the bottom. You want to use that as leverage. And don't pull it too hard. Just want to get enough pull so that it's slightly taut. And give it a staple. Boom. Put it back down. Then you're going to want to do whatever side works best, either the left or the right. You're going to do one staple in the middle, and then another staple on the top. I'm going to do that right. With these ones, since it's really big, you could grab something to stand on. You're actually tall, so you should be fine, but definitely want to get underneath it, get some leverage, give it that nice pull, and you're going to see that this bump should slightly get straight. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but the straighter the better. Give that a staple, put it down carefully, and we'll go to the other side. And again, these ones, I'm not going to stretch the canvas perfectly. What it does is it just lines up everything so that when you do start stretching it, you stretch all the way to the corners and makes it nice and tight and pulls from the middle. So, like I said again, don't worry if it's crazy perfect. Okay. The next thing is, now that we have the top, in the middle of the top, middle of the bottom, middle of the side, both sides, what we do is we stretch from those points that we just put in, and we come into the corners. So you don't do one whole side and the other side. That's not the best way to do it. You walk by the corners. So I usually kind of pick the one that needs the most stretching. Let's say this line doesn't match up perfectly. You're going to want to start with that one as opposed to a side that lines up perfectly, because right now, since the canvas is pretty loose, the first corner that you do will have the most give. So that's why I said you don't have to be too perfect when you lay it on top. When it comes down to this point, the two false sides will be easiest to move into place too. So looks like this one, the line doesn't match it perfectly, so that's going to be perfect. And what I always do is, again, go with the longest side. As you can tell, we have a point in the middle. I'm going to start from this point and do a stretch, pull it down, hold it, put a staple, and just go from this side all the way to the corner. And then after that's done, going on the same corner, I'm going to start from this point and stretch it all the way to the top too. And what that does is it pulls everything from the center out rather than from one side to one side too. So we're going to start with this corner after we finish this one, and staple it all in. And as far as the canvas on the corners, you could just, what I like to do is just fold it down and fold it on the side, whatever looks the best. You just basically want this back piece to be flat, and you can staple that excess. You can start whatever corner that you've done and do the diagonal opposite of it. So if we're going to go on this one, the next one we stretch is this side. And it doesn't matter if you do the short length or the long length, you just want to stretch it to that corner, and then vice versa. And after that, you should be done. It should be easy. Since I don't want to put too many holes into this, I'm not going to stretch it, but I'll draw a layout, and at least you can kind of see how to use this thing as far as if it's really long in the canvas, fold it in half. And you basically just want that little metal piece to give you some leverage on the pool, which should be good too as well. Getting careful not to tear it. But if you have any other questions, give me a call. I'm going to tear this thing down and wrap it up for you. And again, I'll have a piece of paper that kind of tells you exactly the best way to stretch it. But it's easy because